clear? Good. Isaac, just hold on. So good evening, everybody, and thanks to everyone who has taken the time to join us in this our Resitters forum. It is a usual program we normally do every time results are released, and obviously outcomes are known to everybody. And we take the opportunity to have this session to counsel and encourage everybody, because it's not easy going through a professional program and the outcomes not being in line with your expectations is sometimes very troubling, and you surely need help in order to bring yourself into the mood to go back again. Because sometimes transitioning from academic to professional exams is a whole lot of difference. It's a whole lot of difference. And it brings up a lot of demands that are not the same as going in for an academic exam. The demands are different. And sometimes we need to understand these demands and then align expectations accordingly. So we started by having our first session, which we had a week or two back, where we had a session on for a mentoring session for those who are going to write these March exams. So if you haven't watched that video, kindly watch it. It was a mentorship program for those who are writing the March 2025 exams. It could be useful for you because the focus of that meeting was on subject selection, okay? Having to choose the right combination of subjects to assist your preparation for an exam. So those who may have problems selecting subjects, that video would be very essential for you. Is that okay? In getting to know what subjects to select in order to go into exams and come out successfully. Since it's a professional program, mentorship is very important. So I want us to look at, now that we are done, the results have been released, we are all aware of our outcomes. I want us to take our time to discuss some, I would call it, key strategies that everyone should be mindful of going into these new exams. And I'm actually giving these strategies to our resitters. Is that okay? And these strategies can also be useful to first-timers, not necessarily resitters, but also first-timers could also take advantage of these strategies, because with my experience, this has proven to give some good outcomes to colleagues who have paid attention to some of these strategies. And I would expect us to adhere to them because they can make a lot of difference. Is that okay? So I would quickly look at the strategies. So the first strategy I will always recommend to everyone is to start early. Are we together? The strategies are all listed, and I'll just take my time to explain them. And if you have any questions at the end of the session, you could ask so that we can all guide ourselves to make us better. So my first recommendation is that start early. Is that okay? With my experience since the start of the 3-diet system, okay, since the start of this 3-diet system, I've come to the realization that, especially for the March session, okay, it is always, the time is never enough. Is that okay? Since we started writing 3 times a year, March diet, the time is never enough. So as we speak now, we are in December, trying to put ourselves together. We have elections coming up next week. Is that not it? Next weekend, there's election. And after election, people are preparing for Christmas. After Christmas, we have a new year. Then January begins. Are we together? So exams is going to be first week in March. So if you don't start early, nursing yourselves of the outcomes of the previous exam, I can tell you, you are even making yourself worse than where you found yourself. Are we together? So I would call it your recovery from any failure should not go beyond 3 days. If you fail the paper and you are still thinking about that failure after 3 days, you need mental help. Is that clear? You need some mental help. You're having some serious problems that need help. 3 days is enough to overcome this and make your necessary adjustment to get back to business. 3 days is enough. If you go beyond 3 days, trying to manage or nest or trying to get yourselves to emotionally overcome a failure in a professional exams, you have a problem. You better wake up. Exactly. There's evidence to tell you that this is no jokes. So failure is part of the process to get you to where you want to be. So failure comes with the process. So you shouldn't spend more than 3 days emotionally trying to celebrate a failure. That's what I would say. Because the more you keep attention to it, the more you stay in the past. You need to wake out of it. So starting early is very important. We have already begun some tutorials. The whole of this week, we spent it looking at the syllabus. Next week, Monday, we are jumping in. We are beginning business on Monday. Exactly. And regardless of whether there's election or not, we have an exam. So we are still teaching. I believe it's clear. So yes, next week, Monday, we are starting lectures. And it's important that you align yourselves. As I recommended, 3 days is enough to nurse your wounds and come out strong to attempt another attack. I believe it's clear. So please take note of that. Then my next strategy is consistency. Exactly. If you look at an army that marches briskly, it's about consistency. If everybody is marching along, you see a nice uniformity regarding their march past. So what I recommend is that you must be consistent. There are students who keep hopping from one tuition provider to the other. And I always say that is one of the worst things you can do to yourself. It's not about the tuition. Is that okay? It's not about the tuition. It's about you working on yourself to receive what has been properly taught to you. Are we together? So consistency is very key. And there's always a proverb that says that a rolling stone gathers no moss. You keep moving from one place to the other. You won't gather anything. Is that okay? You can gather when you are moving from one place to the other. Consistency is key. You were part of a lecture. It didn't go well. And my benchmark is 35. If you scored below 35, you surely haven't captured it. You surely haven't understood the subject. Anything below 35, you better come out with all humility. You didn't understand the subject. It's never about the tuition. You didn't understand the subject. Anything above 30, above 35 but below 50 means your revision was not adequate. Your revision was not adequate. You understood the subject, but you didn't revise. And that is the truth. For most of us, that is the truth. You understand the issues, but there was not enough time for you to practice. And that is why I always advise consistency. Repeated action secures perfection. So you don't wait for professional exams as you are going through the lectures. You don't wait to end the lecture before you start revision. After every class, you must revise. If you wait till the end of the tuition program before you sit down to revise, you're only going to add up to your pressure. So weekly, daily, there should be a revisitation of what has been taught. Is that okay? To glean over it, to go over it, before you do your final revision. So most times, students who haven't gotten 50, but are obviously above 35, the challenge is that there has not been an effective revision of what they have been taught. Tutorials has gone down well, yes, why not? But they couldn't make the time to go over it or cross over what has been taught them. So clearly, there is a need for you to get back to revision. And as I said, repeated action secures perfection. If you repeatedly go over those questions that you solved in class, you can actually be consistent and obviously come out strong. I believe it's clear. So take note of that. And as I emphasize, it's not about changing tuition centers. There are people who have seen, who have known, has been all over the place, from one tuition provider to the other. It doesn't work. You see, the time is so short to start reinventing the wheel. The time is dead short to now go and be trying something somewhere, to now go and be listening to a new voice, to now go and be listening to a new learning approach, a new teaching strategy. I can tell you it is not worthwhile. Some have done it, some have failed shamefully, consistently over the period, and they've still come back to the same issue. Consistency, consistency. There are students who have been consistent with one tuition provider. It doesn't matter the failure. They've been there. They've gone through it again in all humility, and they've come out better. So I always say, there's no time. There's no time to now go chasing another lecture somewhere, another tuition provider, or some cooking class somewhere. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Those who do that just get up confusing themselves. That's my advice. The next one is collaboration. Always join efforts. It may not work for everybody, but it can also really work for most of us. Get somebody who shares the same passion to pass the exam. The same passion, the same level of commitment and seriousness. Now, with the advent of online lecture, this particular strategy is not really working for most of us because we don't have the opportunity to meet face to face. I believe it's clear. But we can try ourselves as much as possible. We are on a WhatsApp platform. You would obviously hear people participating in class and making contributions. If you admire their contributions, if you admire their seriousness, you can find a way to chat them privately and go into a collaboration. And I will not advise anything beyond 3. Just a 3-member squad is enough. If you are collaborating with people, anything above 3 is a marketplace. And a marketplace is a place of noise making. Nothing effective happens. Are we together? So a sharp team of 3 people or even 2 can make the magic. Are we together? And people who bear the same passion, the same level of seriousness to achieve the same goals. Not just people who come in to rely on others. And make sure there is a shared responsibility. Exactly. Everybody who is coming together to collaborate, make sure that whoever is coming in with you is taking responsibility. I've experienced that personally when I was preparing for lectures or for ICA program. When I was a student, we had a huge team which was made up of about 12 people where we were learning together. I think it didn't work. I failed FR just on the basis of me teaching other people and no one was contributing. So I didn't even have the time to practice certain key issues. So the number of the team I would advise should be kept simple and small. Is that okay? And responsibility must be shared. What I mean by that is that if, for example, the team is made up of people writing, I'll use an example like financial reporting, there should be somebody there who is an expert on consolidation. There should be somebody in that team who is an expert on IFRS. I believe it's clear. So you can share responsibility among the 3 of you and come in together and have some joint interactions. The good thing now is that we even have a learning center in Accra Central. Our hockey stadium venue is available for those who may want to pass there. I've seen some students utilize it in the last sitting. They were able to go there to learn. And I was happy to see some of them seated without anybody forcing them and doing their own revision, especially those of you working at Accra Central. It's a big opportunity for you. Your lunchtime, you can go and hide there. Is that okay? Do some quick revision, 1 hour, and then get back to your office. So take advantage of collaboration. It can really, really, really make a difference. The next one is to take advantage of technology. Technology is now a game changer. If you look at our mobile application, we have what we call Ask Sigmund. It's an AI that helps you to access questions for you. And that AI has been trained, okay? That AI has been trained with the ICA syllabus. And we have actually begun the process to enable it to learn the new syllabus so that if you ask it specific questions, it can give you specific questions from the new syllabus. Are we together? So advantage of technology is immeasurable. Watching videos after the end of the class can also make a huge difference, especially those who cannot join live lectures. The watching of the videos consistently can also make a desire or bring in desired outcomes. The audios for students writing some papers like case study, advanced audit, tax, where there is a need for you to listen more. The audios are so important. You can play them in your vehicle as you are driving. Is that okay? You can play them in the kitchen when you are relaxed, or you can play them when you are about to sleep at the time when you are relaxing. I can tell you, take advantage of technology. It can really make a difference because we don't have the time, but technology can make it easy for us to always have access to what? Information at any point in time, at anywhere. Is that okay? So take advantage of that. We'll talk more about that soon. Then also personal time management. For some of us, we haven't sat down to plan our time properly. Is that okay? If you are going to write these March exams, the first thing you should tell yourself is that from now to the March, no social event, especially in January. January, February, no social event, no weddings, no funeral, nothing. Is that okay? Cancel it. It's time to make a personal decision to develop yourself. Make the time for yourself. Exactly. Time management is very key. Some of us, I remember when I was writing ICA, I get to office very early. By 5 a.m., I'm there. I leave the house around 4. By 5, I'm there. I sit back steady. 7:30, I'm out. Are we together? So it's time management. The time may not be early morning. The time may be lunchtime, or the time may be after work. The time you spend to be in traffic for 2 hours, you could sit back in the office or locate some classroom somewhere, hide there, study, so that you don't waste time in traffic and drive home after the traffic goes down. So personal time management is very key. Exactly. Make some changes to your itinerary. Is that okay? So that you can be able to make time for the professional exam. There's somebody now who goes to church 2 services, first service, second service. It's time to say no to the other service. There are some people that they have taken over certain responsibilities that are very unnecessary. They are among some committees, some social groups all over. You must consider professional development very superior to any other thing at this point in your time of your career. So making time personally, devoting some time for yourself to develop yourself is so important. Because some of us also, we are overburdened with office work. We are always the only one who thinks that when the company cannot replace you. No, your own personal development is very important than the way you are working too hard. Unnecessarily working too hard. I don't know what you are chasing, but you know what? Your own personal development is what you live with forever. You may be sacked today, but what you live with is your qualification. You may decide to resign today, or that company may not be there today. The entity you are working for may not be there today. But at the end of the day, it's your qualification that you carry away. So make time for your own self and develop yourself. We are overburdened with unnecessary things. So I would advise, sit down as the year comes to an end, as we are about to begin another year of developing yourself. Look through your itinerary, and I can tell you, if any of those itineraries are not in line with your professional development, it is time to kick it off to help yourself to prepare adequately. Are we together? Then the next strategy I'll recommend again is effective learning approach. Because some of us, we don't actually know how to learn. Is that clear? I've actually shared a video. We had a webinar some time back on how to train your mind. We shared that webinar on the pages. Some have seen it. It didn't concern them because they don't want to waste data to watch that video. But it was a video that helped a lot of people because we brought an expert who guided us on how to train your mind or the approaches you can adopt to effectively learn. Some of us don't even know how to learn. We keep doing the same old approach to learning, spending 3 hours to cover only 2 pages and not even remembering it after 2 weeks. It doesn't work like that. There's an approach to learning which can help to make things effective for you. wasting time learning so much when ordinarily you could have an approach that could make it easier. Are we together? Because you need to be effective and efficient. So adopting good learning approach, I don't want to go too much into the details, can help you. So I'll recommend that the webinar on that, you should watch it. If you have not gotten that webinar, I'll share it again on all our WhatsApp pages so that you can obtain same and watch it. It's a very useful webinar. I don't think we should reinvent the wheel. We should go back for that particular webinar. It was a student webinar for all our students done about a year or two ago. And I can tell you, it is going to be useful. If you watch it and diligently go through, you pick some key advices that can improve the way you learn. Because for some of us, we don't know how to learn. And I'm sure with time, I may want to be sharing my own personal experience of how to learn. Is that okay? I've been writing exam. Even last 2 Sundays, I wrote an exam. I wrote a professional exam. So it is a life process, and there should be a strategy around it. There are people who you should know yourself, know how to what extent you are able to remember things and devise strategies that can improve your learning. Because in this whole game, it's about remembrance. The difference between a nurse and a doctor is what? It's remembrance. Because a nursing syllabus, the nursing syllabus and the doctor syllabus is the same. They do the same things, but the difference is who has remembered a lot more than the other. Are we together? So please, learning approaches are very important, and I would advise that you watch the webinar to get you to appreciate that. Is that clear? Then another advice or strategy I would recommend is that be involved in class. There are some of us that have never contributed in class before. And I always advise that, and in my class especially, whenever I'm teaching, I don't allow everybody to speak. I always identify key people who would make contributions and they become the front row people. Is that okay? It's to avoid a lot of unnecessary questions. Because there are people who are in class not to just learn, but to ask questions that clearly is all about phantom ideas they are thinking about. It's a professional exam. So you don't ask unnecessary questions. So I normally have few people, 3, 4, 5 people who will be the leaders of the class in terms of putting across questions and obviously bring us to the point where we all appreciate issues. So be involved. If you have never been part of that, do it. Be involved. I should see you to be more responsive. Immediately there's a class, you are the first person to ask a question. And I can tell you, once I identify you, you'll be one of our key contributors. Exactly. And obviously that puts a lot of pressure on you. The advantage it gives you is that because you are always in the front row of the class, you are always trying to prepare yourself for every lecture. But when you are not known in the class, you are always back. It's nothing concerning you. It's like you are not part of the class. But it's not for everybody. As I said, it's for some few people. If you have never done that before, it could be your strategy to keep you very serious. Because there are some students who tell me that by them being involved in class, it avoids them slipping off. But sometimes it's an online lecture. So if you are not given the opportunity to ask questions or being involved in the class, your mind may go off or you may be distracted. So some students use it as an advantage to them because it keeps them exactly participating in the class and obviously keep their attention to what the lecturer is teaching. And I would advise that if you have never been involved, take advantage of it. Exactly. Then the last one is subject combination. For some of us also, the choice of subjects are very, very poor. Very poor. The way we combine subjects, it doesn't help. And I've spent time to do that. I've actually did that. That was just a week or so ago on the mentoring session we did for those who are writing in March. If you watch that webinar, it can really help you because we've spoken about what subject combinations to always go for. Are we together? Especially looking at the financial accounting and the auditing stream. Is that okay? The stream that deals with business management as well as strategy and financial management stream. Then also the strategies that the stream that deals with law. So those of us doing principles of tax, advanced tax, is that okay? That stream is also very important. Exactly. So we went through that and advised on how to combine subjects especially for those of us who are writing the level 3 for the first time, also somebody writing level 2 for the first time. Which subjects should I combine? Exactly. Or you've passed and you are left with only one paper in level 2. What other papers do you add to it? Those are things we've already discussed. And if you have not watched that webinar, it's an opportunity to watch it. So my strategies are very straightforward. I'm sure by now somebody is picking up some ideas. Is that okay? As to what they can do to improve on themselves going into this exam. Is that I will go back quickly to run you through them. Number one is that you must start early. I've said it that all the 3 sittings, be it March, July, as well as November, the March is always short. The March tight is always short. The time is never enough. So ordinarily, if you don't start early, by the time we begin January, you will be panting for breath. You start, you start galloping, and then at the end of the day, the time is never enough. And I should remind you that February is even more shorter because February is not a full 31 days. Is that okay? So that even makes it even worse because technically we have December, is that okay? Which is a full month, but full of activities and can be a major distraction. January is the only perfect full month we have without any major holidays. But there will be holiday 7th of January, Constitutional Day, which is the day for inaugurating the president. So all these are distractions. And if you don't take your time, exams in March first week can really be a problem if you don't start early. So that's my advice. The next thing is consistency, which I spoke about. There's no need to change tuition provider. Change your learning approach. Devise new strategies. Is that okay? Because consistency, which requires repeated actions, secure perfection. Collaboration. Have somebody who is passionate like you to achieve the same goals you have set for yourself. And it can make a lot of difference. And I recommend that anything above 3 members of any group would result in some level of ineffectiveness. Because the more the number of the team members, the more the divergence of views and the more the distractions. Is that okay? So a team of 3 can really be perfect. And as I said, identify people who share the same goals with you. Take advantage of technology. It can really be useful because technology is a game changer. Is that okay? There are some of us who can even do our collaborative meetings using Zoom. There are some of you who don't even know how to go with it. Is that okay? Watching videos repeatedly can help because we have the opportunity to save the videos in our mobile application without the use of internet. So why not? You can do that. Listening to the audios as often as possible makes you remember most of the things. So it's important to take advantage of technology. Using Ask Sigmund, which is the AI in our mobile application, can also be very useful. Are we together? And I also spoke about time management, personal time management, making time for what is most important. And what is most important now is your professional development. So give it the essential time so that you can get your desired outcome. Effective learning approach. I recommend you watch that webinar. We'll share it to everybody so that you can watch it again. It can help you to know how to better improve the way you learn. As we speak, you have never watched any video on how to learn before. The way you've been learning when you were in university, you are still learning the same way for a professional exam. You have to change your approach. Your learning approach may be the reason why you are failing. So watch that video to improve it. And as I said, be involved in class. Don't be the backbencher. No. Come to the front row. Ask questions. Be seen to be more serious in class. And that alone can influence your seriousness. And then finally, subject combination. For some of us, we shoot ourselves in the foot by the kind of subject we have selected. Because if you select the wrong subject, you have already poisoned yourself. You have already shot yourself in the foot. So these are very simple but important advice for anybody resitting. Out of these 8 issues, you can find your own and cure your problem and make good progress. I believe it's clear. So before I wrap up this discussion, always I love to share testimony because the evidence of what people have shown or evidence of people's success is something you can also learn from. So I've taken my time to select. I have a bank of over, I should say, over 750 messages from various students. Is that okay? Over the past 2 years, which I can share with you. But I don't want to go for the old. I want to go for the recent messages. The good news is that about 217 people, okay, or students qualified in the last sitting exam. And they are all students who have passed through ASPA. And I can tell you, we got that from the pass list that the Institute released. And all these people have been added to our alumni platform. And for most of them, they share their experience with ASPA. And I can tell you, some of these testimonies can inspire you. And I want to share some of them with you briefly. And as I read through them, you should be learning from some of these things. Let's take a look at one of them. This is what a student said. This was just shared with me about 4 days ago. He said, the student said that, sir, you might probably be wondering if I was really your student. I was never able to join any of the live class. I was only able to watch what? I was only able to watch the recorded lectures. But God bless you for CR. Please thank the front row students for me. They were asking relevant questions. And that is what I was telling you, that in my class, my strategy is that those who are in the front row should be the students who make valid contributions, solid contributions. And I normally won't do more than 3, normally maximum even 5. Their contributions are very useful. And it helps those who are backbenchers. And as she said here, thank those in the front row for me. Because you see, the question you want to ask, somebody will ask it for you. So it's not necessary that you should be asking the question. Sometimes you want to ask, somebody will ask the question for you. And I want to say that it's not necessary to join the live class. Sometimes you sitting down and watching the video patiently can help you to appreciate the issues properly. Because for some of us, when we join the live lesson, is that okay? The internet becomes a problem. We are not able to follow well because there are a lot of distractions. And there are some students, I can tell you, what they do is that they download the video and then they wake up early morning, which is the best time to study, at dawn, maybe from 4 a.m. or from 3:30. They download the video and take the time and watch it from 3 a.m. or 3:30 or 4:30 to 6:30. They are able to watch the video perfectly. Those are some of the feedbacks I get from students. The live lecture, they may not be serious. There are a lot of distractions as you are watching the class. Your mind is not settled to appreciate the issues. But when you take your time and watch it, I can tell you it can really make a difference. Exactly. So this is a student who has passed corporate reporting. And I must say that last sitting, our pass rate for corporate reporting was so wonderful. And that gave us a huge number of people who passed and were admitted into our alumni platform. Exactly. Some of the comment people say is that ASPA is only good with strategic case study. You don't know. We have the highest number of students for corporate reporting. I'm telling you, I won't share numbers with you, but when it comes to corporate reporting, I can tell you, you are at the right place. The number of people who passed last sitting corporate reporting is so marvelous, I can tell you. So that is it. So let's make progress. Another student who wrote corporate reporting, he said, good morning, Chief. I've passed corporate reporting. I want to thank you so much for the support and encouragement. I started my journey with ASPA, listen carefully, November 2023 and completed November 2024. So you see, consistency. And I know these students because they are students who are all over the place. They start here, they go here, they go here, they go here. No. Consistency. I started with you in November 2023 and I've completed November 2024. That is it. May the Lord bless you. I've become a chartered accountant now. and have been impacted with what? A strong accounting knowledge, and I'll forever thank you and mention your name in my professional life. I hope you are hearing me. And it is here. And somebody will say, oh, Aspire is only good with strategic case study. Be there. You are joking. I can tell you. The testimonies we have for corporate reporting can be it's so mind-blowing. I must tell you. So mind-blowing. Is that okay? So let's move to the next one. Look at this person. He says, this is Ato Dazi. I want to personally thank you and the team for helping me pass my final 2 papers. A friend recommended me, and that is our source of joy. People always recommend people to Aspire after a series of fails. And I must say that from the first day of lecture to the lecture on the Friday morning, because normally we have a special meeting on Friday for strategic case study. When I finished my strategic case study, I knew I had enjoyed good tuition. And what did he say? Is it too late to join any of your training program? He's already done, but he's thinking of joining our training program. And if you look at his pass mark, he got 50 for tax and got 51 for strategic case study. Clean pass. Nothing more. 50, 51. No stress. Let's get to the next one. He says, and this one is, I took this also very important. He says, thank you a lot for your advanced e-learning. He says, I'm a banker. My work schedule almost made it impossible to join your live sessions. The videos really made a difference. You are so busy. Why do you want to worry yourself? The videos are the thing. I'm a banker. My work schedule is almost impossible to join live class, but the video really made a difference. Kudos to you and your team, and there is none like Aspire. You see, on a lighter note, I cannot imagine that I am done with IFRS and IPSAS for level 2. But you know what? You still need the IFRS for level 3 corporate reporting. Is that okay? Look at this one. It says, I trust you good. I want to thank you for the opportunity to thank the Aspire team. Is that okay? Look at this testimony. It says that as a teacher, we've just seen the testimony of a banker. Now let's listen to the testimony of a teacher. He said, I'm a teacher in a very remote area. How could I even dream of doing an online class? Thank you again to the flexibility of Aspire. I always have to wake up at dawn and stand somewhere far away from my house just to download the videos. I hope you are listening. And I have passed both financial reporting and public sector on the first attempt. And I hope you've seen his marks. 62 for FR and 62 for public sector. And you that you are not a teacher, you are gainfully, properly employed somewhere. And you that you have internet, you have an excuse. Your problem is small. You better advise yourself. Are we together? Look at this one also. Sir, thank you so much. I've passed PSA. And why? How did I pass it? Your question bank was very helpful. And I can tell you, we committed so much effort into putting together a manual and a question and answer book for PSA when the Institute has not yet released one. Painstaking effort just to put together a manual to guide our students. When we release it, some people thought we are about to make money. No. It's effort, dedication, commitment, just to give you the best. And those who bought it, I can tell you, they have the testimony. Not those who bought. Those who bought and have engaged it, because some have bought it and they are keeping it on their shelf. This one is saying, I have passed. Your question bank on PSA was very helpful. Thank you, and God really bless you. There's another one. This was from Sammy, one of my very good students who has subjected himself to mentorship. He says, thank you, Professor. You are my mentor indeed. I nearly decided not to write the November exam because my preparation was not adequate. About 2 weeks before the exam, but for your advice. This was somebody who never wanted to write because of a change in his schedule in the office. 2 weeks to the exam, he called me and I advised her, no, you have been writing this paper. He was writing corporate reporting. You've written it before. Now you are going to write it again. and it's 2 weeks, you can still write something. Based on your previous experience, you can still write. And I can tell you, he went there, he's not qualified. He's not qualified. And I'm so glad to share his testimony. Let's take another one. Thank you so much for your prayers. And I can tell you, prayer is key. For some of you who know me very well, my prayer can make a difference. I believe that a lot. Based on faith, I know my prayer can make a difference. And this is somebody who said, thank you so much for your prayer on the last day of our lectures. You stated that our challenges, that is our cognitive challenges in studying is counsel. Yes, proclamation. Believing the proclamation of a prophet can secure destiny, I must say. And that is what somebody is saying here. I knew that prayer was for me. Yes, it spurred me on to push further. This is my first attempt at level 3, and God has done it. Look at that. Thank you so much for your dedication and passion, and in ensuring that the success in your life is replicated in the life of your students. Well, if you don't hear some of these testimonies, you may think we are joking. And it is important to hear it from the mouth of people confirming what we are doing. Is that okay? Then let me add this last one. Somebody said, God's grace, I'm through with CR. I would be admitted. I would be grateful if you admit me into the Aspire alone. As I've told you, last sitting, it was a major outcome. CR, major outcome. As I said, we have admitted 217 people into our alumni out of 336 people who passed the exam or were qualified last sitting. I don't know if you are hearing carefully. That's 60% of those who qualified as chartered accountants had passed through Aspire platform. We are not boasting, we are just telling you what we are doing. And he is admitted into our alumni. And I want to especially thank you for the huge discount you've granted me to ensure that I charter. There are some students who virtually join our lectures for free. I can tell you that. Those who have been failing and failing and failing, there's no interest in collecting money when the student is failing and failing. Sometimes you just have to admit them for free. And that is what he's saying here. That thank you for the huge discount you granted me just to ensure that I charter. May the Lord continue to reward you. The only thing I'll do is that I will forever direct students to all Aspire. Is that not a wonderful thing to say? So that is it. So colleagues, these are some of the testimonies. And I can say that the lives of people are changing. Yours can also change if you heed to the advices we are sharing with you. So on that note, we'll have an open discussion. Is that okay? We'll have an open discussion, spend some time. For those who have questions, you can share it in our Q&A box. Is that okay? You can share your questions in our Q&A box. And for some of you who want to speak to me directly also, I'll give you the opportunity to do that. But let me take my time to go through some of the questions in the Q&A session. For those who have already shared, they said, please, sir, we'll be happy if you could reshare the webinar you talked about. So I'll be doing that. I'll be sharing the webinar on the learning approach. Is that okay? How do you prepare for SCS in March and CIMA in November? So I'm sure the person is talking about CIMA. Yes, so those who qualify normally, we advise that why not you can do CIMA. Is that okay? It says, please, can you kindly share the webinar on the combination of subject? I'll do that. I'll do that on our platform. Early on the consistency, can some of us also have challenges when different lectures take the same subject? If possible, that can be looked at. Yes, so if, I think it's a strategy. For example, somebody said that for a paper like, what's the name, advanced auditing, last sitting, we had 2 lecturers, myself and Derek, and I can tell you it's wonderful. If you look at the testimonies on our audit platform, so immeasurable. Just by the combination that I did with Derek, my junior brother. He normally takes the weekend for auditing, and I normally take the weekday for auditing. And I can say the outcome has been marvelous. The testimonies for auditing has been so wonderful. So you should be able to know how to approach it, because sometimes 2 lecturers taking a paper can also make a difference. And I must say that for public sector, going into this sitting, we'll be devising that approach. Because last sitting, we had a session for IPSAS, and then as well as IFRS. Is that okay? Now, the strategy we are going to adopt is that when it comes to IPSAS, we have to treat it separately. And I'll be handling that myself. So for public sector students, I'll be helping you with IPSAS myself, because with the knowledge in IFRS, similar to what we have in what we call IPSAS, it will be very important to actually help to deliver what we call it IPSAS myself, so that we can bring some strong appreciation of issues there. So this time around, I will be assisting with public sector to help students appreciate issues better and improved our understanding of issues on IPSAS. And especially for those of us who are part of our financial reporting class, it will be easy to blend your IFRS with the IPSAS. So in order to ensure that smooth transition, I will be playing a major role for the students writing public sector, in addition to my colleague Evans, who will also be helping with the other aspect. Exactly. So we'll have a collaboration on public sector. Then somebody say, please, can we pass with studying only your summary note? No, I wouldn't advise that. Is that okay? Just by reading summary notes cannot help. Tuition is very much important. Is that clear? Somebody say, please, can we pass by studying only summary note? I think that's not the way to go. Somebody said, I'm resitting strategic case study. Can I add CR? Those are my last two papers. Please, what do you advise? If you are resitting strategic case study, why not? You can add the CR. Because going in for two papers obviously puts some pressure on you and can increase your level of seriousness. Is that clear? So take note of that. So somebody said, I'm left with CR and case study. Since both are involving, what is your recommendation for combination? And you see, those who are left with CR and case study, the reason why you ended up being left with CR and case study is because you didn't do a good combination. You see, because if you attend auditing and corporate reporting for the first time when you are writing the level 3, at least you are taking a normal paper and a strong paper for the first time. So at least if you pass those two, you'll be left with case study and advanced stats, because there's a lot of connection between corporate reporting and advanced auditing. There's so many things that are in common, especially your knowledge on the IFRS and your ability to review financial statements is very important. So the two papers are in some way connected. So if you combine, let's say, advanced auditing and corporate reporting, the first time you are writing the final level, then why not? You can also combine strategic case study and advanced stats. Are we together? So with that, the pressure is not so much. But some people start, yes, by choosing the easy way out, going for advanced audit and then advanced stats, and eventually end up having to deal with the two troublesome papers, that is strategic case study and corporate reporting at the last stage. So sometimes it all boils down to the subject combination. Somebody said, I got 35. Do you recommend I join the main class or the modular? So as I said, anything below 35, get back to the main class. Anything above 35, get back to the modular. It can help you with revision, right? But if you have 35 exactly, then this one, I would allow your conviction to help you. Are you sure of your level of knowledge? And do you think your problem is practice of question and revision? If that is the case, why not? You can go for the modular. Are we together? So somebody said, I've attempted CR 4 times already. Will your CR manual be helpful, or I should just use the lecture note? Now, the CR manual has a lot of questions that could help you. So why not? If you obtain same, it can really help you. Is that okay? Somebody said, I'm left with MA in level 2. Which level 3 subjects can I add? So if you are left with MA, you can consider combining, why not, strategic case study and advanced stats, because those are on separate days when it comes to exam. Is that okay? Because if you have MA is normally on Tuesdays, right? So you can look at adding maybe advanced stats and strategic case study, 2 papers in addition to the MA would work well, so that later you can now deal with audit and corporate reporting. Why not? Are we together? So somebody say, how many papers can I write in addition to the level 2 to one who receives 1 paper in level 1? So you can add 1 paper or 2 papers to the level 2 if you want to. So you have a paper in level 1, you can add 2 papers or 1 in level 2 so that you can go through. Somebody say, I'm resitting MA and I have CR to write. Would you advise I do both since this diet is very short? And even to be frank, MA and corporate reporting have similar lecture periods. Is that okay? So if you have resitting MA and you have CR to write for the first time, the time is very short. The time is very short. So let's see, you can attempt both. Is that okay? You can attempt both. Maybe you can join the modular for MA and then join the full tuition for CR. Is that okay? So I would advise you join the modular for the MA and then do the full tuition for the CR. Somebody said, I want to write PSA and papers in level 3. What would you recommend? Perfectly, you can do your audit and CR in addition to your level 3 because PSA is on Thursday, right? So if you want to write, you can add corporate reporting, which is on Monday, and advanced auditing, which is on Tuesday. Why not? You can add that to PSA and you should be fine. So this is my 4th attempt in writing PSA. What could be the problem? Because I always prepare well, and writing FR1s is the evidence of my adequate preparation. So I have to diagnose this problem with PSA. Is that okay? Because people keep failing PSA, and there's a need for us to diagnose the problem. So maybe when you join tuition this time around, I'm sure I will be sharing some insight to help you because PSA is a paper that my expectation is that I need to help so that we avoid these recurrent challenges. Is that clear? So join us, and I'm sure there will be some advice that can help you. Is that okay? Somebody said, please, can you show us the way to pass the exam? It's my first time. I think I've shared those advice already. Somebody said, please, is it advisable to take 4 papers at a go at the first attempt? Not advisable. 4 papers, that would be so dangerous, too much of burden. But if you're not a working person, why not? You can do that. Is that okay? You're not a working person. You can take 4 papers at a go because you can use the videos to do a lot of revision and preparation. But 4 papers at the first timer, it's not easy. I wouldn't advise that. You can do 3 too. Why not? So that you can be able to appreciate the issues well. Is that clear? Please, I know there is a forum for lectures or tuition I see a student. The fees for writing a paper is high, especially for those of us who just have 1 paper. Could you please speak to the authorities? Yes, why not? I know that's a major issue for some of us. The fee level for our programs or our exam is now so expensive. I think there's a petition which some students have signed, and I'm sure looking at the petition now is over 1,000. I'm sure the institute will respond very soon, because if over 1,000 students have petitioned a revision of the fees, definitely they will take actions very soon. So we are also contributing to the to make sure that the fees are kept at what it was, because the main thing is that the fee was revised quite recently. Is that okay? So recently it was revised. So for it to now be revised upwards again for next year seems too sudden, and I think it's something that we should all be able to speak to so that we keep it to the same level it is currently. So we are also contributing our voice to make sure that the fees are revised to what it is, at least for some time, and we hope that the attention will be paid to that. Is that clear? Somebody said, can you clarify how modular and the tuition work? I think I want to share with you our program for modular, because for most of us who may be resitters, it's important to discuss the modular and how it works. Now, the modular is for resitters, right? It's a weekly meeting. Normally, we meet once a week. And the reason is because we expect you to use the videos of the tuition that has already been carried out in the previous sitting for your revision. Is that okay? Once you use the tuition videos of the previous sitting for revision, then you have the opportunity to join weekly meetings. And the weekly meetings are aimed not to teach, but are aimed to solve questions. I repeat, the weekly meetings, the aim is to solve questions. If you want tutorials, the videos are available. in the mobile application. So you can access them, access the material, use it to revise. Is that okay? But the meetings we shall be having weekly are aimed at what? Revision, 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 practicing of questions, exam standard questions to help you appreciate the issues better. I believe it's clear. So that is the whole import of the modular. And that is why we advise that it should be attempted by students whose marks are above 35. Are we together? And it is advisable for students who have already been part of our tuition program before, not first timers. Are we together? If you are a first timer, go for the regular tuition. If you are a resitter of a particular subject and you have scored above 35, you can go for the modular. Are we together? Somebody say, why is that there is no modular for level 1? You know, for the numbers for level 1, there are not so many for us to have that. So if you are resitting, I think we'll be sharing a communique on that very soon. If you are resitting a paper in level 1, and you've been part of our tuition, just chat the secretary and get a discount to join the tuition again, okay? So that you can participate in the tuition once more, and we are sure that you can get some good outcome, okay? Right. Somebody say, can you share the schedule for the first time, and specifically those writing PSA, CR, and audit? So I will bring that to your notice very soon. But for now, we are sharing the program for the modular. So this is for resitters, those who have been part of our tuition program and are resitting the paper, the same paper. And if you have a pass mark above 35, sorry, a mark, not a pass mark actually, if you have scored a mark in that same paper, you've written it before, and you scored a mark above 35, go for this program. It can help you. You have access to the tutorial videos of November 2024, which has just passed, the tuition program from the beginning to the end with all the lecture materials will be shared with you to use for your revision. Then we meet every week based on the itinerary you can see there, all with the aim of what? Solving questions. I believe it's clear. So that is the agenda for resitters. So you can take advantage of that. For our students who are writing PSA, the good news is that we have a program for you going into this exam. We have what we call the IPSAS Live. This was something, or this was an arrangement we had. I remember we used to have a live arrangement for strategic case study. We used to have a live arrangement for corporate reporting for those who are doing corporate reporting. We used to have what we call the IFRS Live. This time around, we are going to do something targeting those writing PSA, and it's called the IPSAS Live. If you haven't joined our WhatsApp platform, kindly do so. We have shared a link on all our WhatsApp pages for those who are writing PSA to join what we call the IPSAS Live. And this particular program is to have a weekly meeting where we will have interaction on IPSAS. And this is going to be for free for those who are part of our tuition and those who are not part of our tuition. It's an open forum to discuss IPSAS, and I will be part of that meeting myself to share our knowledge on IPSAS. Is that clear? So take note of that. If you haven't joined the page, kindly do so that you don't miss out on this wonderful opportunity. So those who are doing PSA, this is a wonderful news. Take advantage of it, and I can tell you it will really help your revision. Exactly. So for us who are joining us for the first time, we have our tuition program, which you can take advantage of. So I'm sure there are some who are joining us for the first time who may not have joined our tuition before. Kindly take note of our tuition program. So this is our tuition program. We've shared it on our inquiry pages severally. So this is our tuition program for March. You have a comprehensive tutorial covering the entire syllabus. You have the videos available to you 24 hours after the session. You even have access to the previous videos. So that's our tuition program. And let me share with you our timetable. So all this is on our inquiry page. If you haven't seen our timetable, you can obtain it from our inquiry page, and that would be useful. to help you follow our itinerary for our lectures. So let me share that with you also. These are regular class itinerary. So you can use this to guide yourself on all the various times that we meet for the regular or the normal tuition. Is that okay? So the choice is yours. Either you are joining tuition or you are joining the modular, especially those who may be resitting the paper. Is that clear? So those are the recommendation that we have for everybody. And I must say that for us at ASPA, we have books that are available, carefully put together in line with the new syllabus. Is that okay? So if you want to obtain a copy, why not? You can obtain them as quick as possible so that it can help with your revision. So for if you haven't obtained it, you had a testimony regarding the books. Is that okay? Somebody bought PSA and it was really a life changer for him. Kindly do that. If you can obtain a copy, just do it via our mobile application and it can really help with your revision. If you go to our mobile application, we also have what we call the Ask Sigmund. It's a very unique AI that you can use to ask questions. You put a question across, it can answer it. And as I said, this AI is being developed or has been developed and is being trained to respond to questions on our new syllabus. And that I can say will be helpful to everybody when it comes to your preparation. Is that clear? So that is it. So I'll now seek to open the floor for questions so that if there's anybody who have a question, why not? You could ask and then we can make progress. Okay. Somebody say, please, would the match diet be computer-based for level 1? Yes, why not? So for those who are writing level 1, match exams is going to be computer-based exam. For those in level 2, in 2026, your exam will be computer-based. For those in level 3, 2027, your exam will be computer-based. So we are starting with level 1 now. So 2025 March, it will be computer-based. There will be no learnings, there will be no exam centers. You can write anywhere you are remotely once you have internet. That's the arrangement in place. So for level 1, these March exams, you are going live. It will be CBE. So we at ASPA has already built our own CBE platform, and we'll be using that platform to help you to at least practice online exam even before eventually writing the exam. So for our level 1 students, that is the advantage you're going to have by joining ASPA, because we've already built our own online or CBE platform, which we have ordinarily been using in the past, and we will be dedicating it to help you have that, what we call it, practice before eventually writing the exam. I believe it's clear. So let's take note of that. So I would, on this note, allow for questions. If there are any questions, you can raise your hand and I will allow you to ask. So I've seen some hands up. We have Rita. Rita, any question? So Rita, any question? You can unmute yourself. If anybody has any other question also, you can raise your hand. Rita, do you have a question? If you have a question, you can ask. Then we also have Desmond. Desmond, do you have a question?
Yes, please, sir.
Please go ahead.
Sir, I want to find out. Per my this the FR, the last time I was not able to write my case because I paid late. So now that they have increased the fees, will it be? Are they going to let me top up, or they will still allow me to go to write with the previous one?
No, in your case, you registered, but
and
you
paid.
didn't write.
Yes, I paid. The payment was late, so they couldn't capture my data to give me the index number to write.
Okay, I think that would be a specific issue. So maybe after the class, I would share with you somebody at the institute that you can chat directly on such an issue. Is that okay? So that the person can help you directly. Okay. So when we are done,
and then the FR, yes. I have the last date, that was 2024, the July one. I had 39. So I wanted to write this sitting November 1.
So I would advise you go for the modular.
Okay.
is that should be okay for you. Because once you are above the 30s, is that about the practice? Is that okay? Having the ability to practice more questions. So that is it. If you are in the 30s, 35s, especially above, it's the practice. It means that, yes, you understood the subject. You understand? You understood the issues that make up the entire syllabus for that subject, but you need to practice more because the exam is dynamic. Are you getting the point? The issues may get complex. And without constant, what do we call it, practice of varied questions, you may not have that sharpness in approaching the exam. So there are people who have 45, 46, 47. There are people like that. They are always in the 40s, but they don't cross the 50. It's all because of practice. They know the thing. They are able to appreciate the issues, but the practicing is not there. Having to practice varied questions with different scenarios challenges your mind and your reasoning. And I can tell you, your outcome will be better. Is that okay?
Okay,
Right.
sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Desmond.
much.
So let's have another person who has raised up the hand. We have Francis. Francis, any question?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, please. I left with management accounting level 2. So I want to start with level 3. Which paper do you suggest I add to the management accounting too?
So for management accounting, the challenge is that if you are going for level 3, management accounting is written on Tuesdays, right? And it's the same day
Yeah.
that we have advanced audit.
Okay.
So sometimes when you want to pick advanced audit, it becomes a problem because it's the two papers are on the same day. You see the challenge. And when you are also picking corporate reporting also, that's a very difficult paper. Are you getting the point? So if you combine corporate with auditing with MA, it may sometimes not work so well. So my advice is that you can pick up the tax. Is that okay? Advanced taxation. Or you could also add strategic case study because those papers are on separate days. You understand that? Because the advanced tax is on Wednesday and case study is on Friday. So if you add it to the MA, which is on Tuesday, that should be fine. So you are going to write exam on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. That should work well. But if you want to add just one, some people prefer, they can do the two on the same day. Write the MA in the, write the advanced MA in the morning and write the advanced audit in the afternoon. You understand? So it's just a choice. Is that okay? So like one of my students who came in to me to seek an advice on this, I think the last sitting he wrote financial reporting and then advanced auditing, you see. And now he wants to move, he has MA to write and he wants to write the final level papers. Now I advise her that, okay, you know, your knowledge in FR and your knowledge in audit and assurance level 2 would be very good if you are combining something with, let's say, auditing. Are you getting the point? So he actually chose the MA and the advanced audit. So even though the two of them will be written on the same day, he knows that this is the situation he's going into. Is that okay? But he's preparing his mind to go and tackle it. I hope you are getting the point. So if you passed FR recently, I think you can go for corporate reporting because the knowledge there would be useful in writing the corporate reporting. Are you getting the point? So let me know, what was your recent paper you wrote?
Management accounting, MA.
Apart from MA, did you write any other paper?
No, please.
Very good. When did you pass, let's say FR? When have you written FR before?
Yes, please.
When did you pass FR?
I think 3 sittings ago.
So you see that area is getting weaker. So you add the tax, is that okay? Or strategic case study, and then you are good to go. Exactly. So it means that when you are going in for your final shot, auditing and corporate reporting, you must wake up because if your knowledge in FR is weak, it can affect your auditing and your corporate reporting. You understand? So hurry up, clear the audit, clear the tax, clear the case study, and then go in for the final haul on the audit and the corporate reporting. Is that okay?
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So we have another person, is it Felicia? Felicia, any question? Felicia, any question? Then we also have Maxwell. Maxwell, any question? Then we also have Elvis.
What of Ignatius?
Is it Felicia Attorney or
Hello?
something?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead quickly.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
In fact, this is Ignatius. I'm using my wife phone.
Go ahead.
I'm left with case study.
Okay.
And in fact, last sitting, I wrote 3 and I had to leave in the case study.
Okay.
And in fact, the marks I had, I was so shocked. Last 2 sittings, I had 42. And last sitting, I had 17. So I want your advice on that.
So last sitting, those who underestimated strategic case study surprised themselves. Yeah. Even though most of the issues were obvious. For example, it was obvious to predict what's the name? The model for culture. That was the name of this model, the Handy's culture model. It was there for 10 marks. It was easy to predict. Is that okay? There were other issues that were very much also in line, but to my surprise, some students didn't do well at all. Is that okay? So yes, if you underestimate strategic case study, it can knock you off. So I would advise you can chat me privately. Sometimes, if that is the only paper you have, is that okay? Let us talk. You may want to combine both tuition and modular, especially those who have just strategic case study to go. Those who have only one paper to go, is that okay? I will always advise, don't take things for granted. Go for modular, go for tuition at the same time. It puts some pressure on you, and it can help you to be more able to go through the paper easily. I normally do that, give that advice, and it helps a lot of people. Is that so? You can chat me, and I'll get you a discount to join that arrangement. Is that okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I will do that, sir.
Great. Then we have Maxwell. Maxwell, any question quickly? Hello, Maxwell. Any question?
Hello, Ellie. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Maxwell.
Hello, Ellie. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yes. Yeah. Ellie, please, this is Maxwell. I'm just one of your students who have just chatted.
Okay.
But I can't stop listening to your voice. I just want to encourage all those who have joined today that this is the right place that they are. And Ellie never fits. If you, in fact, my schedules are very tight, but because of the videos, I always make time to listen to the videos, and the videos have made me a chartered accountant today. And I want to encourage them that they are at the right place. They should only make sure that they follow the mechanics. My problem was CR, and this time around, I have made it.
So I'm happy that you are following the mechanics. For CR, that is the trick, right?
So, Ellie, you add my name to the alumni. My number is 125.
That's fine.
Yes.
So you are not yet on the alumni page?
Not yet.
Oh, then chat me, and I think I have to share a message on the pages. So even though we've added about 200 people, we still have some more who are not yet there. Is that clear? You chat me, I'll let them add you. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you very much,
Master, for encouraging your colleagues. Great.
Okay.
So we have Ablade. Ablade, any questions for me?
Yes, sir. Please, I have 2 questions.
Hey, 2
Sir,
questions. This one is not easy.
sir, please, I just want to confirm this notion that is out there that if you request for your script, you be blacklisted.
No,
Because
it's not.
for some of us, I am actually very, very frustrated and tired for corporate reporting, and
You can't be tired. You can't be tired.
That sitting was the best I have ever done. I was overconfident, in fact. And my mark, I was so like shocked, and I'm actually devastated. So I'm sometimes tempted to go and then ask for scripts, but everyone is advising me that if when you do that, they write your students' name.
It doesn't work like that. Nobody will victimize you for checking a script. I've actually even advised people to check it. Is that okay? There are students a lot of students have dealt with on issue of reviewing their script. And if you are in any doubt, normally I even request you, I think one of the interventions I did for one student was that I requested the person to even meet the exam manager personally, exactly, to review the script, to see the marks he had for each question. Is that okay? Because nobody will victimize you, never, exactly. But it helps you psychologically to know the marks you, especially for corporate reporting. You know, question 1 is consolidation. Question 2 is IFRS. Question 3 is IFRS plus ethics and sustainability. Question 4 is what? Specialized transaction. Question 5 is ratios, right? Now, if you go and you check your script, they will give it to you. So you know question 1, console you had, the console that you say you did, you see that maybe you had 5/20. Are you getting the point? The IFRS question 2 that you thought you did very well, you may see you got 3/something. So it helps you to humble yourself and see. Nobody would victimize you for going to review your script. Now, reviewing your script, listening carefully, is not for them. In the past, they were allowing you to go through the questions or the booklet. But now, reviewing your script is limited to you looking at the face of your booklet, your answer booklet, to see the marks you had for each question. Are you listening? It's not for you to go and they will go and open the thing and you are seeing what you are. No. They don't open the booklet for you. You are only giving your solution booklet, the front page, for you to know what you had in each question. So for somebody who has written corporate reporting and going to review your script by looking at the marks, you know what you did for each question, and then you are able to appreciate the marks you had for each question. I hope I'm making sense. It helps. It puts your mind, it clears your doubt as to what you did right and what you did wrong in that particular question. Exactly. In the past, there was no remarking, but now we have remarking. And I would never advise anybody to go for remarking because that is going extreme. Is that okay? Now, even for that one, nobody will victimize you. But you see, what will happen is that your paper or your script will now be marked strictly with the suggested solution. And I can tell you, for most of you, if we want to really go with the suggested solution, the marks you have may even be worse than what you got. That is the truth. Exactly. Most of the marks you have, so most of them are benevolent. If we really want to mark using suggested solution, some of you, the thing you get, you wouldn't like it. Exactly. So my advice for you is that you should go and what? And review your script. At least watch the marks you had in each area. It can help you. Because if you have been writing a paper and you are not getting it, in order to heal yourself psychologically and emotionally, you can go and look at it. And if you need extra counseling, why not? I can even allow one of the people in the exams department, most especially the exams manager, to counsel you, to give you that confidence that you can go through. And I've done it for some students who will want to be able to do that and get that confidence, especially for those who are writing corporate reporting. I've done that for a lot of students who are writing corporate reporting so many times and I failed. And I normally do that for them. And it helps them psychologically to bounce back. That for console, you got this. For IFRS, you got this. It helps. And psychologically, you can get yourself back up. Exactly. So Abladi, if you want that opportunity, why not? You can do it.
Okay, so second, that was about the price thing for the registration. I was saying that the new price schedule is for those who have a lot of papers. Maybe you are now entering to level 3 and then you want to write one paper. Then you have to pay a higher amount. It makes sense. But those of us that we are left with one paper, that we have to now pay 800, 960 for it. I feel like it is punishment for being left with just a single paper.
So I think
if they can separate those who are left with one paper and you don't have any alternative but to just write that one paper and go and pay, so that we pay just for the price for just one paper. It makes sense than to include us to those who have 4 and then they are choosing to write just one and are paying for such an amount.
So let me just say that the decision to revise the fees upwards for one paper was as a result of the cancellation of the policy for you to write, okay, compulsorily 4 papers if you are attempting the final level for the first time. Are you aware of that? That was the policy that was abolished in order to compensate for that new approach. So you see, sometimes it's a chicken and egg situation. You know that people have complained over the years that why should I be forced to write 4 papers at a go and pay all this money? Is that okay? When ordinarily I'm also not able to write all 4 papers. So why won't you just allow me to just write 1? I hope you are getting a point. Now, if you are writing just 1, it affects. So in the past, if you are all accountants, is that okay? If people are writing 4 papers, they pay so much, and maybe they will not pass all the 4. So if the institute wants to be very realistic in having to charge the right price for writing a single paper, is that okay? I'm sure that is what they have estimated. And bear in mind that the institute is moving towards CB, computer-based exams. And that requires certain amount of investment and cost to have this going well. And obviously, it will benefit us into the long term. I hope you are getting the point. So it's all some of these decisions that might have influenced the revision of the price, because a lot of money has to be spent developing an online platform which ordinarily will be used by all persons is part of the reasons. And also the cancellation of the policy regarding you writing all 4 papers at the same time, which is that the cancellation of that policy, to be frank, will affect the institute's inflows. That one is the truth. Because those who are writing 4 papers and not passing, it's a way of dashing the institute some money. That's the truth. But by now, you writing just 1, it means you have to be sure of what you are going to write. Because I was so surprised last sitting, is that okay, marking script of students who have not written anything in the answer booklet. So I'm wondering, why would you pay 800 cedi to go and write a paper and not write anything at all? I don't know if your interest is to dash the institute money, because it's not by force. If you are going to write 1 paper, you should know you are ready. You write and do it well. But you go and pay for a paper, there's no compulsion on you to write that paper, and you don't write anything at all. Then I'm wondering what that you are doing there. So I'm sure that this policy has put some of us writing just 1 paper at a disadvantage by paying more. But the truth is that the more papers you are writing, the institute is actually using a graduated approach. The more you are writing, the lesser you are paying, obviously, which I think is fair. Is that okay? But the only thing that I think is has to be spoken about is that the fee was revised recently to 800, and then all of a sudden has now been reviewed upwards, which is too sudden. And that is what we are speaking to. If at least it is kept at the amount that it was for the revision that was made recently, then that will be fair. But to revise the fee using this new approach of charging more for 1 paper and less for more, and then within 3 months, revising it upwards going into next year may look too sudden. And I think that is the call we are all calling for, that it should be revised back to the 800, at least for next year, so that subsequently it could be changed. I hope it's clear to everybody. Right. So let me pick up 2 more. So I hope my answers are well received. Right. So let me pick some other person, maybe 1 or 2 people, and then we shut down. So we have Alexander. Alexander, any question? Alexander, any question? So
Yeah, good
Alexander
evening.
is not. Alexander, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. So let me hear you now quickly.
Okay, so I wrote a file this sitting. I had 44, which
You
was
had
a bit,
44. Okay.
yes, surprising. I still want to sit for tuition
Okay.
because when I was done with the paper, I noticed I fell short, especially on publication for the standard, the IFRS and the
Okay.
ratios. I could assess myself after the paper that one went very well. So I just want to find out would you advise I go in for tuition or modular? Personally, I want to go in for tuition so that I kill it once and for all. Especially the March being a shorter period for tuition. Initially, my thought was to only sit for the FR. I have other papers to write in level 2, but I intended to write only FR and then clear it. And then maybe July, since that one has a longer tuition period, I can combine the other. So I just need your counsel, please.
So which other papers do you have outstanding in level 2?
MA and then FM.
MA and FM.
Yes.
That's another trouble coming up for. It is well. It is well. So I think it's not a difficult decision to make. It's a difficult decision to make, but I would seek I would advise you to add one more, because sometimes just writing one paper doesn't give you that push. I hope you are getting it. Yeah, it makes you sometimes a bit relaxed. So maybe since you have only FM and MA to go, try and let's see if you can add one. Because you having 45 in FR means you are almost there. Are you getting a point? So with some small push, you can go through. So try and add one paper so that it increases your level of seriousness. Are you getting it? Because sometimes if you have one paper to go, in the last sitting you had 40s, your level of seriousness is not that much. But if you add one extra paper, it can engineer some level of seriousness. So I would advise you add at least, if nothing at all, add one of them, either the MA or the FM. Any of them is that okay? You can add it. Is that if you go into the exams, you may be surprised that you may pass the MA and then you may not pass the FR. It happens to somebody. Alexander, are you there? So you add one more paper, and I think it will be worthwhile. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Good.
Right,
So let me pick some more person, maybe one more. I was expecting to close this session by 7:30, but I'm tempted to add some extra, maybe 10-15 minutes. So we have Emmanuel. Emmanuel, any question? Emmanuel Te, any question? Then we have Charles. Charles, any question?
Yeah, Ellie, thank you so much. I'm back again. I joined the sessions in 22 July, and then I passed public sector, but FR I had 44. I was a little disappointed since that I've not recovered. So it's good with part of Aspire again, and I'm inspired by the session you have had with us. I've learned my lessons, and especially the consistency bit of it. Just the quick one I want to ask is that during that period, you gave us notes that were, I mean, in my opinion, very comprehensive. So I want to ask, if I join again, do I need to buy the book and buy that note? I mean, use the note again, or by following the notes?
Yeah, so my advice is that when it comes to the manuals we have put together, okay, especially the FR, the CR, the PSA. The good thing about those books is that they have been intentionally put together with plenty questions. I hope you are getting a point. So if you are resitting, those books are very much wonderful. For those resitting corporate reporting, FR, PSA, you should buy the manual. That one I'll recommend it. Because if you buy the manual, you appreciate that there are so many questions in there that you yourself, when you start solving, you appreciate. Like the testimony we shared. I have about 5 people who sent me specific messages on the books that we have written for the new syllabus. And all of them are confirming that, you know what, practicing the questions in there has really been helpful. Are you getting the point? So the notes are important. It's to give you the foundation. Beyond that, practicing of more questions is what changes the game. And the books actually have a lot of that. Is that okay, Manuel?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, it's okay. Yeah. So try and get the books. You will surely have a lot of questions to practice. Is that okay? And you will see that now your confidence level is coming up. Is that okay? Because you see, for professional exam, the more questions you practice, the more your confidence is built up. If you solve few questions, you are not so confident. And that's why some people are always in the 40s. The 40s, 45, 47, 48. It's so sad that somebody will write and get 48. There are people who are 49 before. I'm telling you. I know somebody has 49, 2 sittings. 49 this sitting, the next sitting, another 49. I have to counsel the person for 1 week to recover. But if you are getting 45, you don't need more than 2 days to recover. Emmanuel, are you there?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, so try and recover quickly and then get back to me. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, sir, my question is, I'm left with only CR to go.
Yeah.
I wrote last 2 sitting, and I have 45.
Mm-hmm.
But this very sitting, I also wrote, but I didn't attend any club. I went for the regular. I had 35. So I'm now fine. I don't know whether I should.
You are contemplating if you should join modular or not.
Yes, please. Sir.
You can join the modular. Shouldn't be a problem because you've written FCR 2 times. So at least your marks shows that you have some foundation. So you can do the modular. Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I think we can wrap up now. I have a lot of questions, but we can discuss everything. How I wish we can do this another time again, so that we can have a more interaction and help ourselves. But time is a limiting factor. The best is that let us meet in our specific classes or lectures, and I'm hopeful that a lot will be shared there. Is that okay? Somebody said I had 45 in PSA. I want to write again and add a paper in level 3. I think those issues have dealt with it. So Ellie, when you had 24, is it advisable to join 24? Join the regular class. Anything below 35, just join the regular class. Is that clear? So I have the old books. Can I still use them or have to buy new ones? The new books are always updated, so I'll advise you to get a new one. Is that okay? So for those who are not on the page, the IPSAS page, which we have created to help students write in public sector, I will share it again so that you can join the IPSAS page, okay? It's going to be really lovely. We'll have a lot of meeting to help discuss IPSAS extensively, exactly. And if you are part of our tuition also, it will really give you an advantage, especially for public sector going into this exam. And I will be primarily part of the process to help you build a lot of competency in this area so that you can be able to do well in the public sector exams, which is coming up soon. So colleagues, this is where we'll end it. Is that okay? I'll be sharing. Somebody said, when is CR starting? CR modular will be starting next week. So for all our modular programs, we'll be starting next week. As I said, even though there's election, we are voting, but that does not mean we are not qualifying. So please make sure that you join class. So our official lectures will start on Monday. Tomorrow,
the internet was working.
Yeah, so tomorrow evening, we have an opening night for our tuition program. If you still have some questions, why not? Tomorrow, 6 p.m., you can still join us again, and then we'll deal with it. So on that note, thanks to everybody who made time to join us. I really appreciate your contributions. I really appreciate your contributions, and I'm glad you joined us. If you have any questions, just chat me privately, or you can share any question on our inquiry page. Our team will be there to assist you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.